Hi, Clayton. My name is Steve, and I have two questions. I live in the suburb of Buffalo, New York. I'm hearing chatter about rental properties will become a downfall in the next couple of years. If so, why? And my second question was I will be coming into some cash in the next year. Should I invest in commercial property with small square footage?
So, Steve, if I think I heard you correctly, you said that you think that rental properties are going to become a downfall in the next couple of years. I'm curious what that's based on. You said you're hearing chatter of that. I'd be very leery of chatter unless it comes from a really reputable source, people that have been in this game for a long time, that have experience with data and numbers or have been through this. If you're hearing chatter from people that aren't big time real estate investors, I would be leery of that. So again, I'm going to listen to people that are more successful than me that have been there. But if you're listening to an uncle, and I'm not saying you are, but if you're listening to an uncle that's like, I don't know, Steve, I wouldn't be getting involved in real estate investing. Your Aunt Mildred owned a property back in the 1980s and it was a headache for her. So I want to know that the chatter you're hearing is from real estate investors who are plugged in and who have been there, done that, and they're noticing real data in the marketplace for some reason in Buffalo. I can't speak to what's happening in Buffalo specifically, but I can tell you more broadly, we have a affordable housing crisis in the United States. We absolutely cannot build enough of them for people. So, if people can't buy homes because interest rates rise and people are priced out, that's what's happening in the retail space. Prices are rising like crazy across the country, and first-time home buyers are being priced out. Those lower income Americans that would love to buy a home, they've seen a home that they would have loved to have bought for $150,000. Now it's $220,000. And they just think, I can't afford that. So they're renting. I just don't see where in a few years renting is going to become out of fashion. You go through cycles for sure, and there is no one housing bubble. There's no one housing market. Miami is different than Buffalo. Montana is different than Tampa. So everything in every area of this country is going to be different. But everyone will always need a place to live. And there's two ways that you can live. You can own a house or you can rent a house. So unless we start giving homes away for free, and unless houses start plummeting in prices and interest rates drop back down to 2.5%, I just don't see it. I mean, we have an absolute affordable housing crisis in the United States. I mean, we need 20 million units. So what's going to happen if rentals become, I don't know. I mean, one thing we could see, of course, is this eviction moratorium. And we could see a lot of people, of course, homeless, unfortunately. I mean, homeless shelters as a result of the pandemic had filled up, right? People were being turned away at homeless shelters in the United States. And rents have been going up during this pandemic. Rents and prices of homes have been going up. So I just would be curious about that data. I'd be curious to see like who's saying that and what they mean and what are they basing it on before I would have that dictate my investing future. So remember that real estate investing is the number one way to build and preserve wealth that we've ever seen. Okay. And so I just would caution you about some of this sort of chatter. Like I'd love to see what it's actually based on. And then you talked about buying commercial property, smaller square footage commercial property. I know that there are investors moving into the commercial space back in Manhattan. There's a large groups buying up commercial space again in New York City. Probably pennies on the dollar. I don't know. To me, that's more of a tea leaf reading and a trying to read a crystal ball of the future. Are people going to want to move into smaller offices again? Like, is that where we're headed? Maybe. And is that a smart investment? Perhaps. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't buy commercial property for that very reason. I buy homes because people will always need a place to live. Will they always need offices? I don't know. We know that Apple this announcement this week from Apple, it's like deciding right now about how many days of the week they are going to require their employees to be in the office versus home. Every company is sort of grappling with, remote versus home. We saw these people buying houses out in the countryside so they don't have to be in the city anymore. So we know there's an incredible demand in the commercial space right now for people getting boxes delivered to their homes, right? And they're not all Amazon. think about how many different companies are sending you hot sauces and this boxed item and this thing, and right. And so all of these smaller warehouse and distribution points are being required all across the United States. And I have commercial investor friends who've literally torn down large high-rise office buildings in favor of single-story warehouse spaces for that very reason. So larger warehouse space, to me, is an incredible demand right now. I think hotels and smaller boutique things have been completely overbuilt. So again, that's not an area of my expertise. I can just tell you what I know from the data. And to me, am a real estate investor. I'm a residential real estate investor in the single family and duplex home variety, because the demand is there and will always be there, in my opinion. So thank you for that question, Steve. Good one. Good thought-provoking one. I like that one. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Just go to morrisinvest.com/Clayton. You can leave us a voicemail question, and we will attempt to answer it here on the show. Try to keep them to about 30 seconds or less if you can. Now, go out there, take action, become a real estate investor. I believe it's the number one way to build wealth. We'll see you next time, everyone.